It is an honor, Governor, to have you here on behalf of the families in Florida that understand that a job is at the core of their foundation and what they're all about. As a gateway to Central Florida, our port is an economic engine for this region with over $2 billion of economic impact every year. As a result of state funding, particularly through the Department of Transportation, the governor talked more about that, we've been able to add to our own revenue to generate infrastructure improvements that have been critically important to our community. Over the last few years, since 2010, we've received over $90 million in infrastructure help from the governor, the legislature, and from the Department of Transportation, and for that we are eternally thankful. This year, we have $36 million budgeted just for infrastructure at this port, so you know how expensive it is to maintain a port. This is a corrosive, tough environment, and we've got to keep reinvesting in what we do. Specifically, we're going to be working with the Department of Transportation on 401, which is the road going north over to the other side of the port, where we have fuel, where we have Department of Defense, where we have cruise ships, and so many things important. Also, 528 widening and the A1A improvements, so we're constantly working with DOT. Right now, over the next 3 years, got about $20 million in the DOT budget program because of Governor Scott. And again, Governor, we are thankful you're here today, and on behalf of Canaveral Port Authority, I'm going to welcome you in just a minute, but first I want to invite the people that are on the Port Authority board to join me up here. Wayne Justice, the Vice Chair, Jerry Allender, Secretary Treasurer, Michael Lloyd, Commissioner, and our CEO, John Murray. With that, please give the Governor a big round of applause. Thank you, Governor.
Well, first off, it's nice to be in beautiful, sunny Florida. The rest of the country is not quite as nice as this. But I want to thank Tom and the entire board at the Canaveral Port Authority for what they do. This is about jobs. This is about getting people back to work. When I came into this job, our ports had not been funded the way they had the opportunity. I started out with the Port of Miami. We were waiting for the federal government to be a partner, and they never became one. But we've invested now $1.2 billion in 6 years in our ports. And with that, it continues to add jobs. I want to talk about, first off, I want to thank Captain John Murray. He does a great job here as CEO. This Port Canaveral, is part of 20,000 jobs. You can look behind me. These are individuals that completely rely on our spending infrastructure, and if we hadn't spent the money on this infrastructure, we wouldn't have all these jobs. $2 billion economic impact for this area of the state. Second biggest cruise port in the world, 4.2 million passengers last year. As you know, when I ran in 2010 and when I ran in 2014, I focused on how do we make sure this is the state for jobs. In 6 years, we've added over 1.2 million jobs, and let's remember, the 4 years before that election, the state lost 832,000 jobs. So we've made strategic investments to make sure we got jobs here. As a result of 55 tax cuts, cutting regulation, making investments in our ports, making investments in infrastructure, we now continue to add jobs, over 1.2 million jobs, about 240,000 jobs a year. I travel the state every day, and I talk to families. What do they care about? They want to work. They want to get to work, and these ports do a great job. I was in Jacksonville the other day and sat down with a group of individuals, just talk about local community issues, and one lady said, "Thank you for investing in our ports." She said, "My husband has a great job because of the investment in our ports." Now, she, of course, wants us to make sure we continue investing in our ports because they've got a big dredge project they want to get done here. Big economic impact to our ports in Florida, 15 seaports. Over 900,000 jobs are tied to our seaports. We've added over 200,000 jobs just in the last 6 months. This year's budget is fighting for Florida's future budget. We have a good budget again because what's happened? Your state revenues are growing. Add 240,000 jobs a year, have over 100 million tourists a year, have home prices go up every year, and what happens? The revenues of the state grow. We have nearly $3 billion more revenues than projected expenses this year. So we've got to continue to invest. So this year's budget is over $10 billion in our ports. We did that last year. This year, over $10 billion again, and $178 million in our seaports. That's going to add more jobs in the state, make sure we can continue to compete with other states. Right here at Port Canaveral, on top of a variety of other projects, we've got $8 million in this year's budget for cargo improvements. So if our budget is important to you, if a budget that cuts taxes $618 million, a budget that has highest funding ever for the history of the state for education, if our budget, it's important to you to continue to invest in infrastructure and to continue to invest in ports, you have to call. You have to let your House member and let your state senator know the importance of this budget. So Chelsea Aaron's over here. If you don't know your legislator, she will let you know them, but you've got to call. You've got to let them know the importance of job creation in the state, the importance of our ports in this state, the importance of this port in particular in the state. So it's a great opportunity to be here. I want to thank everybody for the opportunity to be here. We're going to finish this budget, and it'll be a great budget for our port. So I'll turn it back over to Tom.
You want to take any questions? Okay. I just want to thank everybody that's come out today to support our governor, and again, to reiterate that his support has not only been meaningful, the material results as they translate into jobs has been significant. So thank you again, Governor, and thank you for coming.